pop on here and see if anybody comes on. See if anybody's out there watching live. It is the American Doofus channel for those that don't know current events with a little bit of comedy. Hello, you let me. All right. Um, hello. Thanks for clicking on. Getting started here with information, a CME, coronal mass ejection. We haven't talked about those in a while. One will be heading in tomorrow, expecting it to be a small X class, if not a large M class. Normally, these things do not have any impact, but if we remember back to the solar storm of May, not that long ago, some um, incredible northern lights, aurora borealis, seen in places where normally you don't have that kind of interaction. We talk on here about how the magnetic field has weakened and more the sun's radiation is coming in. It's why the earth is getting hotter. And whether it is in part due to man or whether it is totally what's happening and we can't do anything about it, that it is where we're at. We are in the hot. We've had the hottest days we've ever had in history, um, and it just keeps getting hotter each day. We break the record. It's something that again we probably can't do anything about, but we probably should be aware of, as well as I said, CME coming in sometime tomorrow, probably tomorrow night, the last I checked, and expected to be small with no consequences. However, we just won't know until we find out when it gets here, where it impacts, um, and what, if anything, we should expect. Again, thanks for clicking on. If you are watching live, thank you very much for giving me your time. If you're watching at your convenience, thank you very much for giving me your time. And let's get rolling here. Um, Things happening in Venezuela. And get some new information on the Butler, Pennsylvania incident involving former President Trump. And of course, the daily Vance as yet another kind of weird thing coming out about JD Vance. Let's get to it. Get the current events started with the X scroll, formerly the Twitter scroll. This was yesterday. I think we ended with this last night as it had just come in. The Venezuelan, current Venezuelan president had ordered the police and the military out to close all the polls and to stop anyone else from. Whoa, it's going to be really loud. I'm glad I was able to click that. Let's get this down a little bit because it is a. Come on. There we go. And let's roll. It's still going to be loud.
Nos van a disparar, nos van a matar. Porque tienen armas, nos van a matar.
So again, that's what happened yesterday. Yesterday afternoon, the polls were closed early, and the votes were counted digitally very quickly. The National Electoral Council of Venezuela, appointed by Nicolas Maduro, said that Nicolas Maduro received the majority of votes in the presidential election. Again, National Election Council appointed by him. More information still to come on that. But this has been making the rounds, and this is from my former, I consider it loyal opposition because we are both loyal to the democracy. We want to keep America a democracy. And this is my old political rival, Mike Pence.
I want the American people to know that I had no right to overturn the election. And then on that day, President Trump asked me to put him over the Constitution. But I chose the Constitution, and I always will. Anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States. And anyone who asks someone else to put themselves over the Constitution should never be president of the United States again. But what the president maintained that day, and frankly has said over and over again over the last 2.5 years, is completely false. I dismissed it out of hand, but sadly, the president was surrounded by a group of crackpot lawyers that kept telling him what his itching ears wanted to hear.
He's surrounded by the same crackpot lawyers telling him what his itching ears want to hear. This came in 17 hours ago. Jay in Kiev says Russia's sabotaging. There's no proof that this was from Russia. However, only two countries are not at the Olympic Games, Russia and Belarus. China's there, North Korea's there, Iran's there, Palestine's there, Israel's there. The only two countries not there are Russia and Belarus. And mail containing a black powder which tested positive for bubonic plague. So you get bubonic plague spread to every country in the world that's at the Olympics, and only two countries aren't there. Again, no proof that it was from Russia. However, it had been intercepted by the security of the French Foreign Ministry, and thankfully it was. This is similar to what I said Saturday night when the incident happened, and I probably won't be on tomorrow, but the next time I'm on, I'm going to replay that night. Chris and I were on with a special edition the Saturday night after the Butler, Pennsylvania, when Trump was shot at, and I'm going to replay that and stop it and comment along the way and add things, add new things, because I think we might have been spot on. The real story: Trump campaign hired the kid to fire into the crowd but avoid hitting Trump to stage a fake assassination attempt and then blame the Democrats, possibly start a civil war. They knew the kid wouldn't survive to tell the story. That is one possibility. One thing I want to reiterate here is Democrats don't want to kill Donald Trump. The Democrats want to beat him in an election and then put him in prison for January 6, 2020. They don't want to kill him. Now, I got a little more on this. I've got two videos which I think you will find very interesting in regards to this. I don't know if the Trump campaign was necessarily involved. We showed the story last night where there had been an involvement with one of the branches of the Project 2025 that had allegedly been following this kid for over a year. I'm sure there were interactions if they were following him. But nonetheless, ABC News, a new poll coming out, and among all adults, this is enthusiastic about the candidate. Again, a favorability. And these are important because you generally do not vote for somebody you do not like or you do not think favorably of. 48-39 as far as all adults, a 9-point lead. As far as Democrats, 88-6. That's a united base. Okay, this isn't, and this 12% Republican is massive. These are the Harris. These are the Haley. These are the Haley people. These are the Pence people. These are the Chris Christie people. That 12%, when you put it with the independent, here's your vote. Here's where the elections decided. The independents, the people in the middle, the people that vote in both political party primaries if they are in a dedicated state, the people that they don't go to political party meetings, they don't identify as I'm this, I'm that. Um, this is the middle. This is the 40% that divides or that decides the elections, and it's divided up 49-31, an 18-point spread. Um, the problem is Democrats are getting ready for an election. Republicans are getting ready for a coup. And we'll talk more about that coming up. These swing state election officials are pro Trump election deniers. As I said, we'll talk more about this. This is from Mark Elias. Quote, I think we are going to see mass refusals to certify the election. This is exactly what I was talking about last night. Everything we are seeing about this election is that the other side is more organized, more ruthless, and more prepared. Again, it's for Democrats. Democrats are planning to win an election. Republicans have already put in place apparatus to attempt a coup. Why would we not think they would do that? They did it in 2020, and only Mike Pence, being a national hero, stopped them. There won't be any Mike Pence this time. And it's going to be a lot simpler than you might think. They refuse to certify the election. When it comes time to appoint a new president through the Electoral College, if there is not a majority, it goes to Congress. Even if some of the electors are there, I really truly hope there are some Democrat leaders out there hearing this because you're preparing for an election and the Republican leaders are preparing for a coup. The same Trump Pence called them crackpot. They're not crackpot, they're criminal. They want to overthrow the government for their own benefit. It's nothing about the American people with any of these guys. And I'm going to keep banging that home because it's too important not to. Um, John Gillis, Republican mayor of Mesa, Arizona, announced he is endorsing Kamala Harris for president. Quote, our party used to stand for the belief that every Arizonian, no matter their background or circumstances, should have the freedom, opportunity, and security to live life out. Pardon me, to live out their American dream. But since Donald Trump refused to accept the outcome of the 2020 election, Republicans have yet to course correct. The Republican Party, with Trump at its helm, continues down the path of political extremism away from focusing on our fundamental freedoms. In the spirit of the late Senator John McCain's motto, Country First, I call on other Arizona Republicans to join me in choosing country over party this election and to vote against Donald Trump. This is big. This is big. Now, the one thing, and the reason that we're going to focus on Venezuela coming up is because what the same thing happened in Venezuela allegedly that we're talking about could happen here, where the person that actually wins the election and would win an electoral vote if it were allowed ends up not being the president. And The only thing that could possibly make this so that they could not certify is if the turnouts are just so big all across the country, so massive all across the country that only those only those with criminal intent would dare to question whether it was legitimate. And the numbers aren't there. The numbers aren't even close to there. The numbers are still showing this is going to be a very close election. However, we've still got a lot of time. Harris hasn't appointed a vice president yet. A lot can happen. Let's keep rolling here. Again, thanks for joining. If you are just recently clicked on, and I said I had 2 bits of footage from um, from the Trump shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania. Um, at 5:02 p.m., actually, I think I've got 3. At 5:02 p.m., Dave Stewart and others were told they were trespassing and asked to leave the area between AGR building and Trump rally. Here's the AGR building, fence, the grass viewing area here. Told to leave the area. The sniper's nest video released by Dave Stewart of Butler, Pennsylvania. This is just part of what he has released. Again, this is the building where um, the kid was. And we're going to watch a little bit of this just so you can kind of get an idea of what was happening. I'm not going to play the whole 7 minutes and 35 seconds because I've got a couple other videos to play, and I need a drink.
This is no trespassing. Off.
Oh, sorry, we didn't see any signs.
Again, this is 5:02, so an hour and 9 minutes before the actual shooting. The area is cleared.
Taking everybody out. He's raging. This guy's raging.
Okay. Okay, you can hear Trump talking in the background. This is from 6:10 to 6:15.
There's fucking cops surrounding this whole entire fucking building right now.
There's something going on in this building.
Okay, the cops are surrounding the building, surrounding the whole building, and yet Trump is still speaking. All right, that is Chris, our buddy Chris. Those that watch the show, you know Chris. Our buddy Chris always talks about anomalies to the baseline. You have a baseline on how things normally work, and then you have an anomaly that has to draw your attention. It has to become your focus. And knowing somebody's on top of that building, which by having it surrounded indicates they know somebody's up there, and yet Trump is still speaking, is one of many anomalies. One of the reasons we're going to go back to Saturday night's video in our next episode, but let's move on.
Oh my God. There's somebody in this building.
Okay. He just realized somebody's in the building. Supposedly, the sniper team was in the building. What sniper team? We don't know. We do know from today that the Beaver County Sheriff's sniper team was there 2 hours before um, Trump began to speak. And at no time did they have any communication at all with the Secret Service. They were supposed to be briefed as soon as they got there. Instead, they spent 2 hours without any notification. It's also came out, text messages have come out between police officers about somebody being on the roof. Again, this was 60 minutes before the speech started that all of this is alleged, all this communications alleged to have happened, that inaction was what came from it. All right, this guy has seen the we assume law enforcement inside the building. I say assume because there's more footage coming up. And again, this is weird. This is weird. They got the building surrounded because they think there might be a shooter up there, and yet this dude goes walking right through the area on a horse with a big Trump 2024 sign or flag. People are just walking through here, and they think there might be a sniper on the building. And you can see in that right there. Hold on just a second. Let me back it up. You can see, I thought, okay, I thought you could see the head pop up, but people are just walking around. The, if you thought there was a potential threat, again, these are anomalies to the baseline. That area would be, you would have everybody moved out of that area. You would have the former president of the United States off the stage. And as Chris pointed out, you would have regular officers do a point of contact, which allegedly they did. One officer peeked up over the roof, and apparently the kid pointed his rifle at him, and the officer fell backwards. Um, Once that happened, none of this other stuff should have been happening, but it is, and I'm showing you all of it because you're not going to see it elsewhere probably, and it just adds on to what really happened, and we need to find out because people died. The shooter died, yeah, and somebody in the crowd died, and other people in the crowd were shot. And we don't want this happening again to Trump, to Biden, to Harris, to JD Vance, nobody.
Make yourself small, bro. I don't know what's going on.
Now, there was that one shot that we talked about that when we showed the segment with the audio and they analyzed it, there was one shot from a firearm that was not the shot that killed the kid or shots from the kid. And that was, we might have just heard that shot. Now, was that like the, if the kid's a patsy, that last shot might have been the one that came close to Trump. Again, this is all new. Um, Dave Stewart's cell phone was confiscated by the FBI, just recently returned, and that's why this is coming out. Got another video from Dave Stewart coming up. It's a short cutout of what we saw here, um, and we'll play it coming up. This is rather odd. This is BlackRock CEO Larry Fink and the shooter, also with a rifle. Of course, the shooter was in a BlackRock commercial. Um, Odd. Just again, these are not baseline things. These are not things that normally happen. Um, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, and let me get it down here. So Fink with a rifle with his finger on the trigger. Um, Jared Kushner, that's Jared Kushner for those that don't know. Jared Kushner's subpoena over the Saudi deal was stopped by House Republicans. Who'd have thunk it? Okay, you remember the reporter that the Saudis executed? Reporter for I think it was the Wall Street Journal and the Washington Post that he had written for. Um, it was a pretty big deal, and he was investigating Kushner's ties to the then prince of Saudi Arabia when he was executed. I don't think that gets mentioned enough, and there's a lot of stuff going on that if if the MAGA people if the MAGA people ever found out what was really going on and who they were really supporting, um, they would understand the Marie Antoinette reference, why the French, the poor people in France got so upset they started cutting off the heads of all the rich people. That's what that represented for those of you that don't know the lady that had her head in her hands. All right, I said we had another clip from David Stewart, and in this he didn't realize this until after the fact, but when he when he ran to get behind the tree and shot out from behind the tree, he caught this. Now, there is a flash in this window back here. You have to be watching for it. You have to know where you're looking to see it. The claim is that this is a muzzle flash, and this was that last shot that we heard audio wise. I'm not sure, not even close to sure that this is a muzzle flash. I haven't been able to download it and get it blown up and look really close. To me, it looked more like a flashlight. How police in a dark room will pull out a flashlight in an emergency situation and scan. It looks to me like that's what it is, but it will be slowed down here. I wanted to pause it here and point out what we are looking at. Okay, right there. Right there. I don't think it's a I don't think it's a muzzle. Here, let me pull this up big as possible and run it one more time. It doesn't help having the letters on there either. It's that last almost sounds like maybe it had a suppressor on it and the others didn't. I don't know. But there it is. Again, I'm saying it's a flashlight. It's the reflection from a flashlight or possibly a light on a on a rifle. But I don't think it was. I don't think this is the second shooter on the grassy knoll. Um, Despite the fact that I can't totally discount it because they moved all the people out, then they let some people back in, then they surround the building, then they let a guy ride through on a horse, they let people walk through. Um, none of what they let the former president keep speaking. It's almost like somebody wanted it to happen, and that's why we're going to go back to Saturday night's thing where there's a thing called Occam's razor, where the most obvious thing is oftentimes the truth. And the first thing that went through my mind when I heard all this was one of his own people tried to take a shot at him to boost his popularity because, you know, if you watched last night's show, I showed you in last night's show how I was able to get a 6 point bump in popularity and how hard it is to do such a thing. I had to get hit in the face and break up a fight. Ronald Reagan had to get shot in the chest, but he got 22 points. And I think it was, and I'm pretty sure I said, we'll go back and watch it, that this went bad, that Trump was not supposed to be hit. That nobody was. I don't know if anybody was supposed to be hit, and there's a lot of unanswered questions. A lot of people are going to try to sweep this under the rug. A lot of questions, and of course, Chris will be on with us this coming Friday night, I believe, and it depends because it depends. Chris has things going on, and if he's available, we'll have him on, and we'll discuss this as well as everything else. Again, I mentioned this earlier. The SWAT team from Beaver County, Pennsylvania, quote, "We were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with the Secret Service members whenever they arrived, and that never happened," said Jason Woods, lead sharpshooter. So I think that was probably a pivotal point where I started thinking that things were wrong because it never happened, Woods said. We had no communication. When something doesn't happen and when something doesn't make sense, it didn't happen that way. The media is moving on after a medical assessment from Ronnie Jackson. He's not even a licensed doctor, which is true. Um, he had his medical license revoked and his military commission reduced because of his behavior. Why are people trying to move on from this? Great question. Chris Wray, FBI director, folded like a cheap suit without so much as a shred of proof. Time for truth. We'll probably never have that. We'll probably never know, um, but we should, and it is time for it. 10 hours ago, we're going to go into the Venezuela thing pretty heavy here for the next few minutes. Panama suspended diplomatic relations with Venezuela. They weren't alone, as you will see. This is this came out of January 6th security tapes, video of attorney Ken Cheeseborough down here and Trump campaign aide G. Michael Brown with the GOP fake electoral documents showing their involvement, handing them off to aides of Representative Mike Kelly, which they're holding right here, and um, kind of makes all of them appear guilty. Not not guilty until proven so, but this is some of the stuff that, thanks to the Republican Congress that forced everything to be released, this is some of the stuff that's being found by internet researchers. So who knows what the federal government's finding? Um, there is alleged corruption in Venezuela. Corruption, I say corruption, in their presidential election. And Edison Research, a highly respected US based research firm that conducts national exit polls, published their results for the election in Venezuela. Maduro lost. It's not even close. Um, the Maduro regime is right now committing a coup. According to the Edison firm, it was 70 to 30. Now that's over 2 to 1 for uh, for the opposition. And just in case you doubt that there was possibly some shenanigans going on, some corruption going on, um, okay, I thought I could play this, but okay. 51.2, 44.2. All right, that's 95.6% of the election right there. Now, there were one, two, three, there were actually eight. There were eight other candidates. Each one of the other candidates got exactly 4.6. All right. That adds up to 132%. 132% the is what they're trying to tell the Venezuelan people. 132% of the vote was counted. And I hope everybody understands that it's 100% of the vote. It's not 132. Um, all the down party, all the minor party candidates do not ever get exactly the same amount. Um, they didn't even try to hide this very much, and it's kind of crazy. Um, as it shows here, with just 3 of them, it adds up to 109.2. National Exit Poll had 31 for Maduro, 65 for Gonzalez. From Lookner, 2 vote counts in Venezuela. A digital tally received by the country's election body, which is led by, appointed by Maduro, and a paper count count printed by each voting machine at polling places. The paper counts are typically the way that everyday citizens can verify that the digital count is correct. But this year, in some key stations, election officials refused to hand over the paper tallies to election monitors. With limited paper counts, the country was left without a way to verify the result announced by the ruling party. Just something to think about. So is this. I'm sorry, but weird, creepy old guy. Um, I don't blame her. That's all I'm saying. I don't blame her. Don't blame her a bit. Um, uh, New flag. Women generally aren't really into flags. I have a feeling some of them might be into this one. Here's the latest flag. Um, I think they've taken that, don't tread on me thing and, well, made it I'll tread wherever I want. Uh, we'll see if this catches on. All right, here we go. It's time for the Daily Vance. And in today's edition,
I thought,
we have J.D. Vance's ex gay lover before J.D. Vance changed his name. And we learn that not only is it couches and dolphins, oh my, but socks.
I'm 90% sure that I went on a date with this man. Before I read this article, I thought, you're just making this up. Like, it can't be the same person. But I specifically remembered after I watched Hillbilly Elegy about 4 years ago on Netflix, I looked him up because I'm like, wow, he's like the same age as me. Wow, he grew up in Middletown. That's not too far from where I grew up. And when I saw pictures of him, I'm like, wow, he looks really familiar. And I immediately got a creepy feeling about this game. Now, I could be wrong, but to help put things in perspective, essentially, we grew up around the same area, we're the same age, and apparently he was questioning his sexuality. A big reason that that was able to happen was because of this. PlanetOut.com. Basically, if you wanted to find someone your age, this was the place to do it. I met a lot of my friends on PlanetOut.com. Dated a lot of my friends on PlanetOut.com. Pretty much, if you were gay and had the internet in Southwest Ohio in 2002, you knew everyone and you dated them. But essentially, yeah, I remember going on a date with this guy. Pretty sure it was JD Vance. It wasn't JD Vance. It's not the name he went by back then. But essentially, we went on a date at Applebee's by the Dayton Mall, like 2001, 2002. And I remember him being like very strange, very creepy, like gave off like serial killer vibes. And what kind of threw me over the edge was he had a sock fetish. And he was very, very like pushy about it. He didn't talk about it like at the date, but like, the next day I think we talked on the phone and I was like trying to figure out like a way to like let this man down or guy down. And then he got really pushy about the socks thing. I'm like, oh, that's it. It's an easy out. I'm much more open about fetishes now, but just like he was really weird about it. So yes, behind the whole couch thing, JD Vance allegedly has a sock fetish, and I'm the one who is alleging it. Also, for the love of God, if there's anybody who used to work for PlanetOut.com or has access to the data from this website, I would kill to find out, you know, if that still exists.
I'm guessing that somewhere that data still exists, and I'm guessing that somewhere somebody has access to it, and I'm guessing this may be tomorrow's daily Vance, but that was today's daily Vance. Again, the guy alleges this. Um, it was Planet Out. I don't know if, and again, this was before he was JD Vance. Hey, do what you want to do, but don't be hypocritical and try to control everybody else's life. Um, when you're this way, I mean, that's not. That's the daily Vance. All right. Um, oh, old Jack. Played Jack last night. Jack said he's going to overthrow that. They did not overthrow democracy in 2006 on January 6th or 2020 on January 6th, but they will this time. And tonight, he's mad because Taylor Swift is a deep state psyop. But it's okay. We don't have Taylor Swift, but you know who we do have? Kid Rock, Ted Nugent, influencers such as the great Laura Loomer, Big Nose Kate. I'm sorry, but first time I saw that woman, I was like, oh my gosh, she looks like Big Nose Kate. Big Nose Kate was the girlfriend of Doc Holliday. And if you look up a picture of her, that's who Laura Loomer looks like. Anyway, that's who they have. And John, they also have John Voight. Well, Kamala Harris has the dude. She had a today. She had an event, or they had an event for her, I guess. Um, White dudes for Harris, and the actual dude um, from the Big Lebowski, the dude abides. The dude was on the call with him. He said, "I'm white. I'm a dude, and I support Harris." So you'll probably be seeing that clip coming around. All right, this is Venezuela earlier this afternoon outside their largest Air Force base. These are citizens getting ready to stand off against the Venezuelan military. Talked with Chris earlier, and we both kind of agreed that this is going to be in the military's hands. How this plays out, it will be up to the military. Meaning, do the military listen to um, the dictator that is not going to be stepping down, or do the military side with the citizens? And that's what this is going to come down to. This is news out of Russia. Um, all resources in Russian economy are exhausted. Inflation is rising. There's an extreme lack of workforce. A lot of them have been killed in a war. Um, Adding money from reserves to the market will just increase inflation without bringing any new growth. Russia is likely facing stagnation or deep recession, and that comes from the chief of the Russian central bank. So, not good news for Russia, um, as they and China try to work to create a BRICS currency to destroy our currency. This is from the Lincoln Project, and this is what, again, um, Democrats are trying to prepare for an election. Republicans are trying to prepare for a coup. the Democrats are doing a great job preparing for an election. And the Lincoln Project, of course, is made up of Republicans that simply want Donald Trump to disappear from public life.
Joe Biden isn't the man he was 20 years ago. He's older. He carried a heavy burden. Some days it really showed. But he's also wiser, more experienced, which is why he not only had the courage to pass the torch to Kamala, but the character to put America first. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is exactly who he was 20 years ago. A fraud, a criminal, a liar, a fool. A man who never kept a promise in business or to his family. A man without integrity, honor, or courage. Every day with Donald Trump is just more of the same. More lies, evasions, and attacks. He's just as selfish, small, petty, and full of hate and vengeance as he ever was. This election will be many things to many people, but the undeniable truth is that it's between a prosecutor and a criminal, between justice and corruption, between the hard truth and the big lie, between a candidate who wants to leave America a future and a criminal who can only cling to the past. The choice is still clear. It's America or Trump. It's Kamala or MAGA. It's us or them. Kamala Harris for president.
That's pretty brutal, actually. So the gloves are going to be off this election. Obviously, we knew they would be from Trump. Normally, the Democrats like to do what is, I think it was Michelle Obama that coined the term, when they go low, we go high, because, the Republicans are known for, this is their political term, not mine. And you can look it up. It's called rat fucking. It is doing anything and everything all the way up to and including illegal in order to win. That's why the thing they are much more ruthless than the Democratic Party is, which might lead some to think there's no hope. There's always hope. Okay, there's always hope. There's always strange things too. And, we like to, sorry, I'm getting a storm here. Wasn't anticipating it. I'll get through this real quick, wrap up here real quick, because I do not want to be on with a storm going on. I'll just play this. This is just, this guy's the night guard. It's 3 a.m. And here's what happens. Appears to have a conversation with somebody, directs him that way. It's just the gate behind him. Sits down and goes and gets him a chair. And then pushes them out of frame. I don't know. I don't know. I said we had some weird videos tonight. That's one of them. All right. I mentioned earlier Panama cutting diplomatic ties. 6 hours ago, Venezuela had suspended diplomatic ties. Venezuela cut ties with Argentina, Chile, Costa Rica, Peru, Panama, the Dominican Republic, and Uruguay. After all of these countries declared yesterday's election was fraudulent and calling for Maduro to step down as president. So none of these countries thought having election results add up to 132% was a good idea either. Thought there might be a little bit of something fishy going on there.
nice to meet you. And I'm saying, hi, yes.
This
nice to meet you.
is Al Bundy. Well, it's not Al Bundy. The guy used to play Al Bundy, and in I'm sorry, I'm distracted because this storm's going on out here. Um, anyway, this is the guy that used to play Al Bundy. I can't think of his name right at the moment. Um, and he had a unique experience that I find rather humorous. I hope you do too.
And so this woman came up to me and said, hi, again, nice to meet you. And I'm saying, hi, yes, nice to meet you. And I know she's famous, but I can't place her. And you want a selfie? Let's do a selfie. I said, sure. So I do. And then I text my daughter, Sophia, because she tells me who that was. And I said, I desperately need to know a name so that when I couldn't even say the name, wonderful to meet you. And so I don't know if you have the picture.
There you go. That's who he wasn't sure who she was. Al Bundy's selfie with Taylor Swift. So again, I just found that humorous. Something I would probably do. Text my daughter and say, I know, I need to know who this is. Who is it? Again, it's going to get nasty as Maduro can't even get basic math correct in hijacking the Venezuelan election. Now using police to stop election observers from checking ballot boxes. That was happening. And once again, if you're just joining us, there's an extended version. Just search at Real DJ Stewart, Real DJ Stew 724. Actually, the @ Real DJ Stew 724. There's extended video that has just been released. If you are following all of this, that raises even more questions in regards to what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, Beaver County, Pennsylvania, the day that Donald Trump was shot at. I found this to be really, really cool. I wish I can't play the music. Sorry. This is the best thing this young man has bought with his adult money so far. And just so you see, you pour the cereal into this one container, put your cap on, put that down in a container of milk, and then you eat your cereal. You got a little bit of milk coming out of the blue sippy cup area thing there. You got cereal. I think it's brilliant. Show you once again how it works. Of course, I'm easily impressed. Get your little sippy cup hole here, right there, where the milk's going to come out. Cereal's going to be dry. It's never going to get all mushy. You're always going to have a perfect, fairly good percentage of milk to cereal. I think it's a nice idea. Somebody wants to go onto Amazon and whatever that's called. Oh, okay. All right. I said I was going to go through this, but the wind was just all of a sudden whang, and it was raining really hard, and now it's stopped. It's gotten quiet, so that means we could have something else on the way. So let me buzz through the rest of this. This is a picture. This is a photograph from the Olympics, and this surfer from Brazil had just won the gold medal. He just went off of the wave, and the board, the surfer, perfect, lined up, perfect framing, killer photo. That's why it's on here, because I admire things like that. And our last story of the night, bringing us up to the very latest I have from 2 hours ago from what was going on in Brazil. Again, it's nighttime down there now. Riots and protests were continuing. Um, footage circulating online showing the chaos has erupted as protesters are blocking numerous streets and trying to make their way to the presidential um residence. And this could get crazy. There are reports that some police officers, some National Guard, and even some uniformed military um, have taken off their uniforms and joined the people. Um, Again, this we will probably wake up tomorrow and see that this has escalated into possibly something horrific, or we will see that they've taken Maduro by force. Um, no matter what we see coming from what is happening in Venezuela, we need it to be a reminder to us here in the United States that our democracy is fragile. Our way of life is something that we often take for granted, and we should not. And no matter what party you're in, no matter what race you are, no matter what sex you are, no matter what sexual proclivities you may have, um, living in a democracy ought to be cherished and possibly even defended. Definitely defended, not possibly. Hopefully, not against each other. Hopefully, we can learn from what we see in Venezuela and take actions to make sure nothing like that happens here. It's going to be a very close election if it keeps going the way. I mean, if it were held today, it would be a very close election. JD Vance, if Trump doesn't get rid of him, JD Vance may make it so that even Trump himself wouldn't believe if he won. So they wouldn't try to do the shenanigans that not only myself but others are talking about it, and hopefully will continue to talk about. Um, Tomorrow night, we'll go back over the episode we did on the Saturday night of the shooting, and I'm also going to talk to you a little bit tomorrow night about what the options would be if indeed the secretaries of state did not certify the elections, um, and they were going to run it through the House of Representatives. The options aren't pretty. So thank you for being here. Thanks for clicking on. Thank you for being in the chat. Those that are, I apologize for not spending more chat time in the chat tonight. I apologize for getting off here so quick. I'll be on Wednesday night for sure, and I'll try to stay on, and we'll talk a little bit at the end of it. I've been rushing through things and need to spend more time talking at the end of these things because I do care what you people think. Um, it's incredibly important, and too often those of us that are just regular people don't get a voice anywhere. So I want to make sure and do that here as much as I can, and I'm going to do that in the future. Namaste. Thank you for being here. Blessings be upon each and every one of you from the one true living God that desire them. May God have mercy on the United States of America. May you love each other. Peace. It's a dark world. Try to be a light. Hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the share. Thanks for being here. See you next time. I love y'all.